All right, what's up, guys? How we doing? Today we're going to be talking about Robert Eggers' new film, Nosferatu. This is a gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. And this is a remake, retelling, whatever you want to call it, of the film. I believe it was a silent film that came out in 1922 by the same name. And Robert Eggers, I've never seen the original, but Robert Eggers has his own spin on it. This is a fucking masterpiece. And like I said, this movie is written and directed by Robert Eggers, taking inspiration from the 1922 Nosferatu, as well as Bram Stoker's Dracula. And it stars Lily Rose Depp, Bill Skarsgård, and Nicholas Hoult. So Robert Eggers has once again just made an absolutely banger of a film. An absolute, this movie's a masterpiece. I don't think all his movies are, but they can be considered. I'm not really going to argue with you. The Witch, terrifying. The Lighthouse, also amazing, but I can understand if you kind of aren't a fan of it. You know, it is kind of a chore to get through. And then The Northman, which is arguably his best film in my opinion. And then you have Nosferatu. And this guy is just in complete control of his art, of what he wants to do, his vision. You know, he is using material from the past, whatever you want to say, but this guy is in full control. He knows exactly what he's doing. Every frame, every shot, he is firing on absolutely all cylinders. I have not seen a director with this much confidence, bravura than Robert Eggers has in this movie. His visuals, his directing, the acting, everything just sucks you in. You succumb to the darkness, like the tagline says. You are just locked in. It's hypnotizing. Every single scene, you know, more scenes than other, which are horrifying. I was actually surprised at how scary this fucking movie is. I mean, there's some pretty damn good jump scares in this, but very few nonetheless. This is more of a slow burn. Obviously, if you're not familiar with Robert Eggers, you should know that going in. And he's taking his time. It's haunting, building up so much tension from the first minute of the film. The first scene is such a good open. Lets you know right away the type of movie that he has in store for you. Like, it almost feels like he didn't try, which sounds kind of weird, kind of strange, but it feels like he was just so confident. He just knew the exact movie, every frame, every shot, every piece of dialogue. He just knew it. Full confidence, and it was displayed perfectly from page to screen. And it feels like he just didn't have to try, even though so much work went into this movie, obviously. And I mean, it just feels like this guy can direct a movie in his sleep. It's unbelievable. And Bill Skarsgård, man, I mean, I refuse to believe that he was in this movie. I swear to God. Like, there's no way he was under all that makeup, all that prosthetic. I mean, a lot of the movie, the movie's already extremely low light. A lot of the scenes are very dark, and they purposely keep Count Orlok, Nosferatu, in the dark for probably over half the movie. You know, we only just see, you know, his figure, his silhouette, and even his voice. Like, that was the most probably impressive part, if it was his voice, because I swear to God, I don't know. He completely transformed into the role of Nosferatu, and he's just even more unrecognizable than you would think. I mean, if you thought that he was completely unrecognizable and did a great job as Pennywise, I mean, this just is honestly not even comparable, in my opinion. From the first few seconds of the film, when we first hear the voice of Nosferatu, of Bill Skarsgård, it just immediately almost puts like a spell on you. His presence is frightening, his voice is horrifying, and it's just an absolutely amazing performance. I also thought Lily Rose Depp and Nicholas Hoult give 10 out of 10 performances as well. I mean, almost Willem Dafoe, Aaron Taylor Johnson. I mean, pretty much everybody in this movie, I think, could be nominated for an Oscar. I mean, Lily Rose Depp and Bill Skarsgård, I mean, he probably won't. Neither will she, but she should definitely be nominated. She's basically this cursed young woman who has been having these dreams, these visions since she was a child of Dracula, of Nosferatu, trying to seduce her, trying to get her to succumb to his darkness. And she has absolutely terrifying dreams every night, much of those we see in this movie, and they are fucking scary as shit. Not only with the frightening emotion that she has to evoke in a lot of the scenes, it's when she's dreaming, when she's basically possessed by Nosferatu, and she has to do some things physically with her body, with her face, her mouth. There's some things that she does in this movie where I don't know how she did it. I was like, that's not real. She's not doing that. It's such horrifying imagery, and she nails it. And now with Nicholas Hoult, it's a little bit different. Like I said, 10 out of 10 for sure. But at first, I was a little bit worried because of last year when he was in Renfield, another Dracula movie. It's a lot different, obviously. It's a lot lighter, a little bit of a different, more comical, over-the-top satirical take on Dracula. So I just thought it was kind of weird that he would also be in this movie. Granted, he doesn't play the same character, but it was still just a little concerning, I guess, if you want to say. But, man, immediately, right away, all the worries are gone. But he plays the famous Thomas Hutter, and from what I got, he's, for lack of a better words, he just wants to be a real estate agent, and he is set up by his boss at their firm or whatever it is to go and sell an old property. I think it's like an old mansion in this town in Germany that's been abandoned, and he has to go on a 6-week journey to this random house in the middle of the Alps, I believe is what they say, to sell that house to this random person named Orlok. When Thomas finally arrives at his destination, he goes inside of Nosferatu's house, and the two are just chilling, casually signing papers. He's making this sale, signing the deeds over. No, it's absolutely terrifying, and it's not funny, but it's like he's making this deal, signing papers with Dracula, with Nosferatu, and the more that Nosferatu talks, and his voice just starts to dig deep inside his skin as well with ours, Nicholas Hoult is just sitting there, just absolutely shaking in his boots. More and more just starting to realize, like, who the fuck is this guy and why the hell did I get sent here? Everybody in this movie just gets lost in their role, and that's really all I can say is they all body their role completely. The dialogue is helping them in every single way possible. They have so much to work with, and they give it right back. They give just as much effort. A lot of the scenes also kind of feel like a play, like a lot of the dialogue when, two characters are going back and forth. It seems like they're on stage, and sometimes I don't like that. It kind of bothers me a little bit, but in this movie, it does not at whatsoever. It just adds to the overall tone and vibe that Robert Eggers is going for in this film. And I can't forget about Willem Dafoe. I feel like recently he's kind of just been that go-to, supporting actor for a lot of these art house independent films, in the past few years. And a lot of the times I'm like, it's almost like the Pedro Pascal thing where it's like, of course Willem Dafoe is in this movie. He's in a lot of movies, but I really enjoyed watching him in this movie. I mean, he's great, as always, really. I mean, he's one of the greatest actors of all time, essentially. But he comes in probably like an hour, like over an hour into the movie, I would say. But he makes absolute use of the screen time that he does have. He's kind of the Nosferatu expert in this film. He kind of comes in and kind of, not exposition, but he kind of gives them the answers that they're looking for. And then one last thing, of course, you can't have a Robert Eggers independent horror film, whatever it is, without this guy. Nah, I mean, Ralph Ineson is always good, First saw him in The Witch. Excellent in that movie, as well with this, I think any movie with this type of tone, this gothic horror elements, all that to it, adding someone like him with his presence, with his voice as well, this very distinct voice, it's going to do nothing but add to the film. Now back to the visuals that this movie gives us. The cinematography is just impeccable. I mean, the lighting, like I said earlier, it's very low lit. A lot of the scenes are very dark, almost black and white, pretty much. Like the first shot we get of Nosferatu's castle when Nicholas Hoult's character is first entering through this carriage. It's just this big wide shot with his mansion or his castle in the way background, and there's this long winding road leading to it, and it's dark, it's mysterious, it's nothing short of art. Like, this is Robert Eggers' art piece. This film is his canvas, and he's just an absolute genius. I don't know what else to say, really. So many shots that will just widen your eyes, take your breath away, leave you in awe. And not only that, the set design of this movie, the costume design, all of that is so believable. It takes place, I forgot what the town is called, but it takes place in Germany in 1838. It looks like Germany 1838, man. It looks like so much time was put into this movie, you can tell. And even just all the extras in the background, like obviously our main actors, you know them, we all know them. But people in the streets, walking around in the background, whatever it is they're doing, they all looked like they were born in the 1800s, like they actually lived there and they went back in time. And I really honestly don't have a lot of negatives, if none at all whatsoever. I think, if people want to say that it's too long, maybe 5 minutes can be cut out from this, but I don't know if that would make much of a difference. Maybe just in the beginning when he's on his journey, the 6-week journey, maybe some of that could have been cut down, but I don't think it would make that much of a difference. I do understand that if it is too long for you, probably just because of how much of a slow burn it is and how much tension and the atmosphere that they're building at the beginning of this movie, I can kind of understand that, but I think this movie's length is perfect. Oh wait, no, one thing I will say is in the last scene at the very end, it kind of had me questioning it a little bit because I don't know if it necessarily made sense how the movie ends, although I thought it was a great ending. It's awesome. But just the choices that Nosferatu makes at the very end, I don't know if he would have made this decision specifically. If I don't want to spoil anything and I won't, but if you see it, maybe you'll kind of see what I'm saying. But yeah, overall guys, this is a horror visual filmmaking masterpiece that Robert Eggers has given us, and he is slowly becoming, I think he might have passed Ari Aster for me personally, especially after Beau is Afraid, as a new upcoming horror director just in general. Tarantino, Scorsese, Villeneuve recently, Christopher Nolan, I think Robert Eggers is making a case for himself, and he's going to do plenty more movies, I hope. And I will be there for day one, excited for every single one. The acting is phenomenal. The cinematography is outstanding. Robert Eggers is seducing us into this film, his film, much like how Nosferatu was seducing Ellen to his darkness. This movie is hypnotic, it's mesmerizing, and it's going to be an easy 9 out of 10. Filmmaking at the highest possible level, and I think you should go out and watch it immediately. But yeah, those are just my thoughts, guys. I always appreciate you watching. My name is Zach. As always, like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you want, and I will see you on the next one.